Marcus with MMA Nyt and Studio MMA. We're here with Tom Wright, Director of Operations for the UFC here in Canada, and 55,000 people, the biggest UFC event ever. Are you nervous?
I'm excited. Is really what I am. I'm looking forward to this to get on with. We've been planning for this for months, and we've been working so very hard to make sure the experience is great for our fans. So I'm excited. I'm just looking forward to Saturday night.
I think all the fans are as well. What was the biggest obstacle for you guys to put this on? What was your biggest concern or obstacle with outside forces, so to speak, or even from within?
Well, I think that when we opened up this Canadian office about a year ago, our sport still was not sanctioned by the province of Ontario, and it's something that we feel very strongly about. Our sport needs to be, and we want it to be regulated, because that's how you guarantee the safety and health of the fighters. And so that was the biggest hurdle that we had to jump over at first. We got that done by middle of August, and then the regulatory procedures had to be put into place by the end of December. So, after those hurdles were jumped over, it was a question of where do we hold the first event. And there's lots of great facilities in Canada to hold the first ever event of this size, and we chose the Rogers Centre because it's the biggest one in Ontario.
And a stacked card with some of the top names in just not the UFC but mixed martial arts in general. 55,000 people, one of the biggest stadiums that is it the biggest stadium that UFC has ever put on an event?
It is by far the biggest stadium. But before this, our record was the Bell Centre in Montreal, 23,000 people. That was our previous record. 23,000.
You're more than doubling your event, and the fans can be able to see this live. Is the Canadian market different to the US market? Is there a reason why you can put this on in Canada, or that you are putting it on in Canada versus, for example, the United States?
Well, as Dana White has always said, the country of Canada is a mecca for our sport. On a per capita basis, MMA is the biggest in the world is in this country. So it was only a matter of time that we had a chance to really take, to address that kind of fan support by coming here, which is one of the reasons why we decided to go to a football baseball stadium as opposed to a hockey arena.
And talking about ice hockey being the national sport of Canada, is there a reason to why mixed martial arts is so famous and so popular in Canada?
Well, there's a bunch of reasons, and to use the hockey analogy, one of the things that is part of hockey, whether you like it or not, are fights. And I don't know about you, but if you're at a hockey arena, you're at an NHL game, and a fight breaks out, everybody in the stands up and watches. And so I think that's one of the other reasons why it's so popular with Canadians. Fighting's part of their national game, and fighting's part of all of us.
It's very true, as a lot of Swedish ice hockey players have realized coming over playing in Canada, not being used to the sport being so physical as it is over here. But we're looking forward to a great event on Saturday night, and I believe you like you said, most of your hurdles have been overcome. All you got to do now is sit back, relax, and enjoy the event, right?
No, it's not that. We still have lots of hard work to do. I mean, the venue hasn't been fully configured yet, and we've got the big fan expo here for 2 days, and we've got a big event in downtown Toronto. There's still tons of work to do. I won't relax and have a beer until Sunday at about 2 o'clock in the morning.
One last thing I wanted to mention, as you mentioned earlier on when we were up at the podium, you said that you believe that the economy is going to be affected while the UFC fans are in town. You said somewhere close to $30 to $40 million.
Yes.
Do you think it's time to bring the UFC to Sweden, perhaps?
I'd love it to go to Sweden because I would make sure that I was invited to that show. I'd love to come to Sweden.
Maybe we can get Boris Salming to sit front row.
Yeah, and as long as he brings Inga Hammerstrom with him.
Inga Hammerstrom, is he still alive? I'm not sure, actually.
I hope he is.
I hope so too.
Because if he's not, then he won't be able to make it.
Tom Wright, Director of Operations here in Canada with the UFC. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Marcus.
Thank you.